Hello, good evening, everyone. We are live. If you're joining us, let's know where you're joining us from. Hello. Hi, good evening. Anyone on the call? Thank you. Hi, good evening. Good evening. Welcome. Thank you for joining today's call. If you're live, please could you share where you are joining in from? Let's know your name and where you're joining in from. Please could you type that in the comment section. Today is a special day, and I'm so happy. I'm so happy we are having this conversation today. Thank you. All right, so we are having a very interesting conversation today. And today it's all about the special people in our lives, the people least celebrated, but whose impact is enormous and can't be quantified. I know men are usually angry that we have like 1,000 Mothers Day. We have like 1,000 Mothers Day, and we have just one Father's Day. I'm so sorry about that. I wish I could help and add more Father's Day, but unfortunately, it's not something I can do. So please just accept it. But tonight we are celebrating a very wonderful and special set of people in our lives. Like I said, they are so special. Their impact is so enormous, and we can't let today's slide without giving them that special honor. And today we are celebrating the fathers and fathers to be, and it's actually a great feat. It's not easy, but we thank God for their lives. And we have decided to set out today to celebrate them, to honor them, and remind them that they are special, and we sincerely appreciate them. So if you're joining in, please just put in where you're joining in from. I can see Fumi on the call. I can see Udwak. Thank you for joining. Oh, yellow heart red. That's sweet. That's lovely. So please go ahead and share the link with your friends, with your colleagues, put it on your status, let people know, let them know what we're doing, and let them come online to be a part of this conversation. I'm so excited to have 5 amazing men that will be speaking with us today. I'm so excited and looking forward to tonight's conversation. So let me just do a quick introduction. Then I'll bring on the keynote speaker on the stage. This event is brought to us by Parents Supporting Parents in the UK. And our vision is to empower African parents in the UK to thrive in a diverse society while raising wholesome families and fostering a sense of community. We are basically about families. We know a lot of people are relocated, they've lost their families. And if you ask an average Nigerian, why are you relocating? They will say, because of my family. And upon getting here, a lot of things have happened. But we are interested that our focus is helping people to raise wholesome families and also foster a sense of community. And our tagline is supporting each other and raising strong families. Our mission is to provide supportive and inclusive environments where Nigerian parents in the UK can share their experiences, can access resources, and also build a network that promotes mutual learning and holistic well-being for themselves and their families. And over we are over 1 year now. Through collaboration and advocacy, we've been able to equip Nigerian parents with the tools and knowledge needed to navigate the challenges of parenting in a new country, and to also create meaningful and fulfilling life for themselves and their children in the UK. So these are our core values: respect, empathy, mutual support, education, advocacy, and community engagement. Over the last 1 year, we've had various webinars ranging on how to care for your screen, UK education system, how to find yourself in the business of life, safeguarding, and we've had finance webinars, how you can manage your income and expenses. We've had conversations around raising awesome girls in the UK, and how you can be healthy. Your health too is important. And also, we've had conversations around strategies to enhance your productivity. We've had a whole lot of conversations. We've had around mortgage and insurance. So it's all encompassing, like I said, provide the relevant information for families to thrive in the UK. So that's the driving force behind all these webinars. And also, we have our intercessory prayers every Tuesday, and we have the Bible Club, and we also have prayer meeting for families where we stand in gap for all our members and just pray for every member of the family. And we also have our monthly webinars. We're also planning a charity project and our hangouts, hopefully this year or next. So thank you all. Thank you. So these are the contact details of our admin and the people that are driving the team. So thank you for taking out your time to be a part of this webinar. If you're interested, or if you know anyone in the UK that would love to be a part of this community, here's the QR code and here's the link. They can go ahead to scan and join us. Without further ado, I'm going to introduce our keynote speaker for today. I'm super excited. I don't get tired of listening to him. In fact, I had a session with him earlier today and my mind is still blowing. And I'm so glad and so blessed to have him on the call today. And he's no other person than my amiable Tunde-Success. I'm going to play his profile right now, and the next voice you will hear afterwards will be his own voice. So let's go.
AI researcher, entrepreneur, and seasoned. Tunde-Success Osideko is a leadership and AI researcher, entrepreneur, and seasoned HR strategist pursuing a PhD at the University of Manchester. With nearly 20 years of global experience across Africa, the UK, and the Middle East, he blends academic depth, leadership expertise, and cultural insight. A passionate advocate for purpose-driven leadership, he believes parenting is the foundation of leadership and is committed to raising future-ready sons. Professionally, he mentors tech startups, supports early-stage entrepreneurs, and consults on leadership transformation projects, especially in the UAE. He is the founder of several initiatives focused on mentoring, ethical AI, and leadership development, with a consulting and academic background that includes top institutions like Warwick, Harvard, and Gibbs. Tunde-Success is driven by a mission to empower individuals, families, and organizations to lead with purpose, learn intentionally, and leave a legacy. Please join me in welcoming Tunde-Success Osideko.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. Thank you so much, Atinuke, for inviting me. I trust you're having a great day. Once again, it's my pleasure to be here, giving the keynote address. And I know that, the meat of the matter will be, dealt with during the panel conversation. So mine is to give the context of why we're here. Parenting is very important to me as an individual, especially the role of fathers, because I lost my dad when I was 10. And, firsthand, I saw how the demise of, the male partner can create chaos in the family. And my family, structure was not the same again. Things became very difficult. Um, and because of that, I saw myself rising up quickly to manhood from I saw myself rising to adulthood quickly from childhood, because I had to take care of myself. I had to pay my way through secondary school. I was doing all sort of things, setting up businesses, doing, supporting my peers in secondary school, making money, and all the likes. And so as I reflect in my role as a father, I have three kids, I have three boys. um, you know, I'm very intentional about, their growing up experience, as I think about the role my father played in the short time that he lived, with us. So once again, it's my pleasure to be here. We're talking about the many roles that fathers play, and what I want to do is to remind us once again on the roles that we need to play, right? The many journeys that men play, the many sided dimensions of the roles that men play in the life of their kids, or as far as parenting is concerned. And in my estimation, the first role that we play as fathers, is the role of crafting the vision for the family, helping our children to understand the power of vision. And I think this is very important, for many of us on this call who relocated from Nigeria, to the UK. Um, for some people, it might have been an escape, from all the craziness of Nigeria. But I think that if being here in the UK is seen as an escape from poverty from Nigeria, or we're here, trying to survive, we're here in a survival mode, um, I think that it might impact our children negatively. And so it's important to, teach them the power of vision. It's important to see our coming here as part of a bigger plan, and then help them to, craft a vision for themselves. Yes, some of them go to public schools. Yes, some of them, attend schools that you don't have to pay school fees. But it's important to help them understand the power of vision. It's important for them to understand the mannerism of vision. It's important for them to understand the language of vision, the nuances of vision, the importance of living a life of purpose. That's really, really very important, so that they don't end up, living a life of hustling. They don't live, a life of survivor, because they are mirroring what they've seen, from their parents. I think that that's one of the most important roles that leaders or that parents, need to play in the lives of their kids. Helping them to see possibilities in this environment. I've heard a lot of people talk about how tough it is to be in the UK as an immigrant. And so it's important for us to help them see all the possibilities and help them chart a direction, for their lives. Vision is about helping them to live a life of purpose, help them to understand why they're here. What is the assignment for them what is God's assignment for them? Why are they in the UK? What role does this geographical advantage or privilege, is playing in the ultimate, direction of God for their lives? That, I think, is very important. That men don't just have basic conversations with their kids, but they're having purpose conversations, vision conversations, and help them to understand the importance of making a difference in the world. And you can do this by various means. Try to push them, try to expose them. Give them books to read. One of the conversations that I have with my three boys, I always ask them, "What is your vision?" What is your vision? We have that conversations, quite in a number of times. The second role that a leader needs to play in the life of their children, or I keep saying a leader, the second role that a father needs to play in the life of their children is the role of the role of a philosopher. We must help our children to have a conviction about certain things. One of the things I'm beginning to realize more and more is that there is no sitting on the fence. Everyone believes in something, you know, and there are different belief systems that exist out there. And so it's important for us to have conversations around, you know, their convictions. What do they believe in? Because as you all know, if you don't believe in something, you will fall for anything. Those are some of the kind of conversation we should be having, with our children. It's not enough as a father to provide. It's not enough as a father to protect. How do we provide? How do we protect? These are more germane issues that I think fathers need to impact into the lives of their children, helping them to find their own conviction, teach them about theology, right? Teach them about values, teach them about what is right and what is wrong. Um, you know, I have, many years ago, in one of the, or as a result of one of the educational interventions that I was exposed to, I was required to come up with a value, or yeah, a set of values for myself, and I came up with the value SKIE, SKIE, because I reflected on my life and reflected on what is really important. And so I came up with that S standing for spirituality, K standing for knowledge, I stands for impact, and E stands for excellence. And that personal, that value, that conception now has now become the value for the family. So if you ask my kids, what are your values? This, they will tell you our value as a family is SKIE, right? Where spirituality is very important to us. Everything that we do, we believe in God, and everything that we do flows from that. We believe in knowledge. We invest in knowledge. We believe in making an impact with what we know, and we believe that whatever is worth doing at all is worth doing very well. So that gives them a sense of the principles for them to live by, right? As they grow as children, they may evolve the values into their own, right? But at least we're giving them a foundational strength and pillar for them to hang on to. And the final point that I want to make tonight is that a leader must play um, the role of a mentor. We must mentor our children. Help them to assess the possibility that exists in the world. Help them to assess resources that life brings their way. And there are many ways you can teach them. Many ways you can teach them. I remember one of the ones that comes very handy is when we took them to a city. I don't know if you guys know Kidzania. Kidzania is like a simulation. It's like a career simulation where kids can try different career and they get paid, by hours. And when the kids got to Kidzania, they were trying out different things. They were getting paid. They were trying, they tried to be a police officer. They got paid. Tried to be a broadcaster. They got paid. And at the end of the day, it was a full day adventure. And at the end of the day, they then stumbled upon a university. And then they went to school. And then they didn't get paid when they went to university. And the tutor told them that if they had come to the university first, before going to work, they will have gotten twice what they got paid, right? Because they started that adventure by not going to school. They were excited because they were making money, but they then realized that if they had gone to school first, they will have gotten double what they earned that day. That taught them the power of education. That taught them the importance of knowledge, and I think that has really stuck with them, up to this point. So it's important for us to be intentional and deliberate in mentoring our children, so that they don't have to fight, the same battle that we are fighting, or they are better equipped, to fight the kind of challenges that life may throw at them. So I want to say thank you once again, and I know that you're in for a treat as the distinguished panel delve more into the subject of the discussion for today. Thank you once again for having me. God bless you all.
Thank you. Thank you so much, TS. Oh, thank you for that introduction. In fact, that's a fire starter. That's a fire starter. You see, when I say we are in for a good time today, thank you so much for setting that pace, Dr. Tunde. All right. So I'm going to be bringing up our second speaker, and he is a medical doctor with a twist. There's something special about him because I even need to ask him, how do you combine music and being a medical doctor? But let's listen to his profile, and then you hear him speak afterwards. Let me know if you can hear.
Dr. Ikponmwosa Akhionbare is a physician with specialist training in internal medicine and cardiology, blending clinical expertise with a creative edge. Beyond the hospital, he is a seasoned recording engineer and multi-instrumentalist, proficient in both playing the guitar and the piano. His artistic portfolio includes producing music videos and composing cinematic scores for film and animation. Dr. Ikponmwosa brings a rare synergy of medical precision, musical expression, and technical skill to every project he undertakes. Please, let's welcome Dr. Ikponmwosa.
Hello, good evening, everyone. I don't know if everyone can hear me. So first of all, I want to say thank you to the organizers of this event. It's really an honor to be to participate in this program and be part of all of us. So good evening, everyone. I also want to say thank you to the first speaker. Very innovative speech, a lot of insights. I basically listened. I almost took pen and paper and started writing down keynote points. It was really, really insightful. So thank you so much. So not to waste time, I know I only have 15 minutes to give my presentation. So today we are talking about fathers, celebrating Father's Day Conference 2025, and I'll be speaking about health-seeking behavior among fathers or among men, basically. And it's a topic that is very important, especially for all of us, especially when we emigrate to foreign countries, when we consider the challenges that we face as fathers and as men, and thanks to responsibility, thanks to change of cultures, thanks to what is expected of us as men and as African men, we tend to forget our own lives as individuals, as men, basically. So, and that takes a toll on our health in the long term. And these are some of the issues I will try and talk about over the next 15 minutes. So, one of the issues that men face, especially when it comes to their health, is because, for example, the numbers have shown that men have a shorter lifespan than women, basically. And it's not because of our biology as men. It's not because we are men. That's why we don't live as long as women. No, it's because of our behavior. And I've mentioned some of those points earlier in my introduction, basically. And the reasons for this are, studies have shown that men are less likely to go and see the doctor for a health problem. And some of these reasons will include a cultural expectation. A man is supposed to be able to chest, in quotes, his problems. A man should be able to, real men don't complain. Real men don't talk too much. Real men should provide, and be available to provide at all times, basically. And so subconsciously and culturally, this creates a sort of hindrance where the man develops a problem and refuses and he doesn't seek help. So, like I mentioned, the stigma and the masculinity forms of behavior that we have as men limits us from seeking help, basically. Then another aspect that contributes to, in quotes, our reduced lifespan as men is, and why we don't seek help, is we are afraid to find out the truth, about what the problem is. So a 45-year-old man develops a cough and has been coughing for 3 months, basically, and he doesn't go to the hospital. He probably has heard from other people what happened when they had similar symptoms and went to the hospital and the kind of diagnosis they got. And so he's afraid, so he doesn't go, because he's thinking, okay, if he gets to hear about his diagnosis, how does that affect his work? The man might be at a particular point in his life, in his work, in his career, where any diagnosis would be a hindrance to his progress, basically. So he's afraid to go and seek help because he's afraid of the diagnosis. Another problem might be time. From back home as Africans, it is expected that we are the breadwinners. We should work, we should provide. So we hardly take out time to address our own problems, basically. So we give more priority to going to work, to making money. I remember a case that a colleague called me about. He saw someone in the hospital, did a test for the person, and the person's result was really bad, and this person had no symptoms, basically. And when the person was asked, why did he not come to the hospital earlier, he said he never had symptoms, never felt anything, just felt a little tired, and that was all, And when he was asked about his work pattern, this person works 7 days a week, takes only the weekend off, 7 days a week, back to back. And that wasn't good for his health. And it showed in the test that he did, So men tend to give more time, especially as immigrants to the UK. You're trying to settle down, you're trying to find a work, family life balance, There's so many bills to pay, so you have to work. You have to keep working to keep those bills going. So that sort of creates a distraction, and you tend not to give so much time to your own personal health. Then also another problem is having the knowledge in the first place about your health, about our health. Most of us don't really have that knowledge base to know that, okay, these are the things I should do when I get to this particular age. These are the things I should avoid when I get to this particular age. These are the things I should or should not do when I'm working in this role to keep my health. And when I refer to health now, I'm not just referring to your physical health, even your mental health. So sometimes the knowledge is not there to know that these are the things you need to do to ensure that you have a clean bill of health. So that could be another issue. Now, the next part of our conversation would now be, okay, so what is the cost? What is the end result? What happens when you do not seek help? When you ignore symptoms, when you don't take care of yourself, what could happen, basically? And I'm sure we all have personal experiences, either from a friend, from family, or from the community at large, of stories you've heard, of how people came down with complications, and when they were rushed to the hospital, unfortunately did not make it, So yes, these things can happen when there's a delay in the diagnosis of health conditions. Basically, it can lead to complications. When we could develop problems that could have been taken care of earlier, or that could have been prevented. The idea is prevention. If you seek help early, you can prevent some really common problems that tend to occur as we grow older as men. For example, I'll just give examples. Things like hypertension, diabetes. These are very common conditions that can be prevented. Of course, there are other insidious risks for it, and so the idea is to be aware of those risks and find ways to prevent them. And you cannot be aware of these risks if you don't seek help on time, and if you don't have the knowledge, So hypertension, diabetes, even cancers too. If you seek help early, cancers can be seen on time and treated on time. The next aspect too is mental health crisis, as men, because of that African culture of not seeking help on time. So you tend to shoulder all your problems, both physical and emotional. And it takes a toll on your mind, basically, especially when you add the pressure and stress of a new culture as immigrants here. Basically, things are done differently here. Um, as families here who are coming from sub-Saharan Africa or from the African continent, we come from a society where children are raised or people are taken care of as a community, basically. It's not only the father and the mother that is raising your child. Your grandmother is raising your child. Your aunties are raising your child. Your siblings are raising your child too. So it's a communal way of living. So you come to another society where it's sort of different. You tend to shoulder everything as a parent and as a man. So if you add that extra burden, and don't have ways to seek help or get help, or at least share the burden, it takes a toll on your mental health, basically. And so that's why studies have shown that men are likely to die by suicide, 3 times more likely to die by suicide, basically, especially if you add all these risks that I've mentioned, basically. And all of this would lead to a very poor quality of life, basically. So you find some of us, we work. We don't really get to enjoy what we're working for. Things are not. Some of us end up getting depressed. Even at work, at some point, you have what they call diminishing returns. Basically, you're no longer as productive as you were initially when you started. So why do we have to keep things in private for too long? No, we should try and come out and seek help as much as possible. So what can we do now to remedy this? So as an individual, for example, for starters, I would like to encourage everyone, first of all, to seek help. If you have problems, be it physical or mental problems, it's not always the case that you have access to a medical professional like some other people. So you can always just ask a fellow friend. That friend can share his own experience concerning a symptom that you have, and he can direct you to the right places for you to seek help. So try to seek help, share your problems with your spouses, share your problems with your trusted friends. Always share. I know as Africans, we are very guarded in terms of our personal lives, and we try to keep things in-house. Yes, I understand that, but when it comes to your health, your physical health, you need to share, basically. You don't know where the help would come from. So always share. Then I also want to encourage us to have regular checkups. Always have a timely way you do checkups for yourselves. And a very simple one is to check your blood pressure, basically. Hypertension is what we call the silent killer. Why? Because it can exist in an individual for years, damaging different organs, and there will be no symptoms, basically, until a particular catastrophic event happens. So when you hear stories of people who died in their sleep, or someone was preaching on stage and he collapsed, we've seen videos on social media of people back home, even people here in the UK. Someone was at a party, he was dancing, and then he just collapsed, and that was it. 8 out of 10, most times, it's unchecked, untreated hypertension that has been there for some time, and the person did not know, and then it leads to a catastrophic event like what we all see, and then that's it. But if he or she had checked on time, just a simple walk into the GP surgery to just check your blood pressure, basically. Once you know what it is, have a regular time for you to keep checking. And it's not just the blood pressure, there are parameters for men that we should also check, basically. Your blood pressure, your blood glucose or sugar, as it's colloquially termed, Then also, for guys too, once you get to 40, there are some specific tests that you should, like in the UK, it's offered freely to everyone, that you should check. From 40, you can do a test to check your prostate, basically, because for guys, as we get older, our prostate sometimes tends to get bigger, and that can cause problems later in old age. So it's always advised that as from 40, you walk into a GP surgery and just check your prostate, do a test to check your prostate. And I also know that from 50 years, there's an NHS test that is done freely. The kit that is sent to check for stomach cancer, bowel cancer, basically, because the risk of these conditions increases as you get older. So, so this is the knowledge partner, basically, and this knowledge is available. This information is available online. If you just go online and type the NHS screening programs, they are all there, basically, for you to read and gain knowledge and work with it. Then also has a community, basically. I like the fact that in Father's Day conference, it's giving me the opportunity to speak. So at this level as a community, we should, as men, develop relationships among ourselves, and share, and it's not just sharing problems, also share your wins, share your triumphs, share your progress. It's going to encourage the next person, basically. So sharing your wins also means if you were sick before and you adopted this approach I'm trying to tell everyone, and it worked for you, and you are fine now, share, because that can also help the next person who is quietly harboring something he doesn't want to talk about. That will encourage him to seek help too. So it's always good as a community to share in church, in our gatherings, at our parties, workplaces. Just share positive stories, what has happened in your life in relation to your health, basically. And another places you can seek knowledge to, YouTube. YouTube is also a very good resource. If you have questions, if you have doubts about what is going on with you in terms of your health, you can also go to YouTube. So basically, in summary, what am I saying? As men, we, in quotes, are seen as the giants of our families, basically. And it's a culture that has existed on our continent, in our society, for a really long time. And this has led to some of the adverse effects that we see today. So I'm basically encouraging everyone here, the guys in the house, take care of yourself. Take some time off, rest. It is a man who has rested, who is mentally and physically present, that can take care of his family, that can be available for his kids, that can enjoy the fruit of his labor, basically. We've seen cases where people leave us untimely at a really young age and leave a young family behind, and if at some point they had just walked into a surgery to do a simple blood test, or had their blood pressure checked, or had a full health workup done, it could have been avoided, basically. So I want to say thank you again to the organizers, and it's nice to see you or meet you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ike. Thank you so much. That was so insightful. Men, please, we are begging you, for our sake, take care of your health. You are important, and we need you to be alive to be able to take care of your family. So your health is so important. All right, I have another amazing speaker I'll be bringing up shortly. He will be talking to us about our careers, and I'm sure you are going to enjoy his session also. So I'm going to play his profile, after which he will come online.
Ayoade is a highly experienced Microsoft Business Applications consultant with over 14 years in IT, specializing in Microsoft Dynamics AX, Dynamics 365, SQL Server, Power BI, and SSIS. He holds a PhD in computing from Glasgow Caledonian University, where his research focused on tech-driven rehabilitation solutions. Known for his excellence, empathy, and leadership, Dr. Ayoade is passionate about helping others build purposeful careers. Outside work, he enjoys creative DIY projects. As a panelist, he offers valuable insights on career strategy, goal setting, and visionary leadership for today's professional. Please welcome with me Dr. Bolaji Ayoade.
Hello. Thank you very much for that intro. Thank you, Atinuke, for organizing. I saw the slide on what the parents opposing parents in the UK have done. I think that's a good thing, and kudos to you guys and everyone that's had an impact on that one. Also, thank you to Tunde-Success for your insight into crafting vision for the family. And of course, thank you, Dr. Ike, for talking about health as well, having us seek help when we know things are not okay, or even regular checkups, that helps as well. And then for my part, I would just lead on from what Dr. Ike said, share. So this is part of us sharing. We've talked about health. Let's share our experiences in terms of career planning as well. And I would like to start with a question, which is just for us to think about, and then we'll go from there. So the question is, have you ever felt overqualified but underexperienced, especially when you came into this country? So part of what I mean by overqualified is you could have acquired certifications and degrees, or you could be a director from Nigeria and you came here, you have to start doing all sort of hard jobs. Underexperienced in the sense of the job you are doing or you're applying for, they're asking you, tell me about a time when you did something that you haven't done before. So that's what I mean by, have you ever felt overqualified but underexperienced? And that was me in 2014 when I finished my PhD. And my first real job was a graduate developer. And I remember going into the office thinking, oh, I have a PhD and I'm applying for a graduate role on a graduate salary after all those years of stress and work. Is this what my life is about? To be fair, it was a hard point then. So fast forward later, and 3 years later from that job, a couple of changes happened. So the first thing that I want to share is when you feel like you're in the wrong job, take out, because there are things that you can do to help you. So 2014 graduate PhD, I could do the job right from university, BSc. I didn't need a PhD to do that job. So I felt like a lion in a chicken's body. That's how I used to describe it to myself. I had big aspirations, and I thought I was better than what I was doing. The problem was no one else saw that. It was just me that saw all my awesomeness, and the rest of the people probably saw just a glimpse of it. So instead of this great, impressive strength where everyone, says how wonderful you are, you don't get that. So it was one of those at times anyway. But there are some of my 3 key things which I know I did then to move from where I was to get into where I am today. Was I realized that the job I was doing now was not my destination, right? It was just a part of the journey. And I'm sure each and every one of us have different journeys in terms of career as men. And there's nothing to be ashamed of. There's nothing to be proud of. It's just a journey, and we are asked to make the best of it. All right. So things I did, I learned in the cracks, right? So during breaks, I was asking questions. I remember having a conversation with one of the managers and said, I don't know what to focus on now. Should I focus on database development, or should I focus on the application dynamics? And the person said, if you focus on database development, those are skills that can be offshored to any part of the world. So you focus on something, and 2-3 years down the line, you've got not much chances in the job, because now someone else somewhere in the world can do the job cheaper. So the company's going to make that change. So talking to your colleague, asking about specific skills. What should I be focusing on? What should I be developing? What are my strengths? What are those things that you think I should be doing? And those helped me, because then at the time, I decided I was going to focus on dynamics, because I liked it. 1, 2, it was just something that was accessible to me at the time, and I wanted to be the best in doing what I was doing, right? And then in the evenings when I get back home, what I started doing was I started prototyping. So I had my desktop. I started installing some of the applications I was working with in the office. So I was able to, to scavenge for information, that's my second point. You need to be able to scavenge for information. If you're expecting someone to give you the information for you to get to your next level, you might be disappointed, and not many people will be interested in your own growth as yourself. So scavenge for information, search the intranet, do all those things. I found those materials, I installed it at home, I started practicing. Just to give you an example, the project I was on, we were working on AX 2009. The version at the time was AX 2012 release 2. I looked for that AX 2012 release 2. I installed it at home, and I was learning and playing with it. And at the end of the story, I will show you how that became handy, and that laid the foundation for my next career move. Lastly, even though I felt I was overqualified with all these degrees and I felt I could be doing something better, what I was also doing was every SQL script I wrote that someone commented me on and said, "Oh, you did that quickly. Oh, you solved that problem." I wrote it down. And that's what I call the Lion's Diary. All right. You put it down. You write all those things, all those wins, all those slight comments. Oh, you're good at something. Write it down, because what that will do for you, it will help you with your confidence. It will not only help you with your confidence, it will help you with your CV. Because now we all know your CVs are not a list of what you're doing. People want to see what were the achievements, what are the key highlights in your career as you were doing it. And so if I then fast forward to those 3 things, 3 years down the line. Oh, before 2 years, the government changed the policy that if you're earning this salary, for you to be qualified to renew your visa, you need to be on another salary, which was 32K. So at the time in 2014, I started on a 26K salary. The reason I'm telling you this is there may be some people that feel that the money you're being paid, you're worth more than that. Yes, it is true, you're worth more than that, but don't let that define you. Your value is not tied to that salary at that time. Salaries can change. Your values can be improved. You can invest in yourself and you can be better. Right. But the good thing was the people then at the time decided that they were going to increase our salaries because they wanted us to renew our visa. And within that year, I went from whatever salary I was on at the beginning of 2016, I added around 4K more on top of that salary at the end of 2016, because some people saw value, because the government made changes, which brings to the next point. The law around visa will always change. It will always change, and we must be prepared for that change. And the change is not necessarily a bad thing. It could be a good thing if we position ourselves properly. If we position ourselves that they know that this person is good at this thing. Do we want to lose this person because the person doesn't have sponsorship? No, let's keep him. Oh, what do we need to keep him? Oh, we need to pay him the salary. And then they say, oh, is it what that salary? Yes, it's what that salary. So that was, should I say, one of those grace moments in which the policy that was meant to be, something that could have impacted you to lose your job because your company doesn't want to sponsor you because they can't afford to pay you that amount of money, that changed as well. And then 2018, the project finished, and I was asked to find another job because it was project-based organization. The thing I did then, all those next version of the software that I was working with came in handy because I did my CV, submitted it somewhere, and someone saw me, and that landed me my next job. What I was doing was above and beyond what I was doing at work. So, in summary, I just want to encourage us that the three things that we can learn is, like they say, no condition is permanent. Everybody has a journey. Your journey will be different from mine, but it's all a journey, all the same, which means that's not the destination. So if you feel you're underemployed, overqualified currently, that's not the end. What can you do between the cracks? Lunchtime, evening time, what can you do? What you can afford to do, like Ike said earlier on, is you can afford to be working 24/7. If you're working 24/7, trying to survive, I think Tunde also mentioned it. If you're trying to survive, you don't have time to think about the future. You need to create that time. You need to have that downtime to think about your future. If you spend all your time doing the job and you're not adding value to yourself while doing that job you don't want to do, then you're not setting yourself for the next level in your career. And of course, always talk to people, ask about information. This is another story I'm going to share. There was someone in Canada that just saw my LinkedIn profile. He said, "Oh, I was doing Dynamics." He was just about to get a contract for a Dynamics, and he contacted me and said, "Oh, I just see that you're in the space. Can you help me?" They said I needed this certification, but I don't know which one to do. And I was able to talk to him. I said, "Actually, yes, you're talking to the right person. This is the website examtopics.com that helped me." And he said, "Oh, okay." I was going to try it. Now I haven't heard back from him, but I'm very sure if he has followed my advice, he would have improved himself, and as a result, he will be in a better place. All right. And those are the things that I would like to share with us to really think about as we build our career. It's a journey, it's not a destination. And I have many more things I can say, but I'll keep that to the panel session. Thank you very much for having me, Atinuke.
Oh, thank you so much for being vulnerable with us. Thank you for sharing your experience. I'm so glad to hear your story. And it's also encouraging to, I know quite a number of people are in that space. I mean, they were managers right from Nigeria and they got to the UK. They just had to pick on any job just for the sake of survival because bills won't wait for you in the UK. And thank you for the encouragement and for sharing what we can do while waiting for the dream job. Thank you once again, sir. I'll be bringing up our next speaker. He's my special brother, and he's someone that is good when it comes with networking, like connecting with people. You need to see his LinkedIn profile. Is making waves on LinkedIn. He's a voice on LinkedIn. I just thought it would be good to bring him on board to share some of the secrets with us. I think one of the challenges people have is not even knowing who to speak with, not having the right set of people in your network. So I have a special person in the stream that will be telling us how to go about it. So I'm going to share his profile first, then the next voice you'll be hearing will be his.
Dr. Oluseun Ajayi is a leading African real estate scholar and global thought leader, currently serving as program lead and head of real estate at London Metropolitan University. With a 16-year academic career spanning Nigeria, South Africa, Germany, and the UK, he is renowned for his expertise in real estate, finance, particularly REITs, and Black economic empowerment. A graduate of Obafemi Awolowo University and PhD holder from the University of the Witwatersrand, Dr. Ajayi has earned multiple awards, prestigious research grants, and over $750,000 in funding. He has published in top-tier journals, mentored over 40 students, and led research initiatives across Africa and Europe. His career exemplifies resilience, excellence, and impact, making him a powerful voice in academia and industry. A passionate Arsenal and Real Madrid fan, Dr. Ajayi embodies the belief that mindset, not location, determines destiny. Please welcome with me Dr. Oluseun Ajayi.
Hello. Is this a time where I get to speak? My host, can
Yes,
you?
yes, go ahead, sir. You have the floor.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. First, let me just say, comically, I really hope while my bio was being read, I forgot to take that out because some of the people listening to me would be some of them are Barcelona fans, some of them are who are our rivals now, Manchester United, Manchester City. We're all one, don't worry. The animosity stays on the pitch. Outside the pitch, we're all one, trust me. But when we get back to the field, yeah, hopefully we get to flog many of you this season. I have been handed a very profound conversation or discussion to, I see all of you. And I'm quite excited because I was indeed handed this. This was the currency that has really, this is the currency, or was the currency that I've always spent in the labor market, networking. Before I continue very quickly, I want to appreciate the organizer of this session. Thank you so much. And I'm really happy because this is very timely. You have said it right, right from the onset. We've always had Mother's Day, like a thousand Mother's Day events. And I think this is quite important also for men who, the pressures of life sometimes, or even most times, would have, kept them in their corner and don't allow them to advance frontiers. Yeah. The life of a man is so interesting, it's so multifaceted, it's so dynamic, and only those who can risk about going too far will find out how far they can go. I repeat that. Only men or women who can risk about going too far will find out how far they can go. And that has been the summary of my journey. I like to tell stories, so and that's gonna be the fulcrum of my what I have to say. Perhaps, like other speakers have said, I will defer many of the many of the insights to be generated to the panel session where we get to have the conversation. Now, let me give you some statistics. Do you know that 85% of all job roles, 85% of all job roles, 90% of grant scholarships won on the face of it, maybe not other planets, but on the face of it, they are gotten through networking. I'll give you some statistics. I don't speak theoretically, I speak practically because this is what I've experienced. Quite many people refer to me as a genius, but I don't believe that I am one. I believe that indeed, and in fact, I was an exceptionally dull person until I was exposed to the power and dynamics of networking. And networking has taken me far. And the last 7-8 years now, networking has helped to pay my flight tickets to every nation I've been to: Zambia, the US, the UK, South Africa, Nigeria, Ghana, and many other places. Networking has actually, all the emails I've received regarding grants, scholarships, and what have you, has always been, a function of thank you so much for what you do. It was nice to meet you the other time. Yeah, please go ahead and apply. You see, and that's it. The power of the power of relationships stem from networking, and hopefully the insights today will be quite beneficial for each and every one of us. So many of the scholarship funds, they go unacclaimed every year, not because people don't have the wherewithal to apply, but most cases the grants, It's really about that, and that's a secret. I'm an academic, a senior academic or a higher education leader in the real estate sector. I can tell you this for a fact. Many of the job roles also, it's majorly, and I'm glad to also let you know that the politics in the academic space or even in the professional space is really more than the politics that we experience in different communities we find ourselves in, especially Nigeria, where we are from. So not applications, not websites, but networking. It is that currency that will help men today to find their feet. And like I said to you, only those who can risk about going too far will find out how far they can go. So please let this sit with you. I want us to imagine a generation of African men, degree-laden, destiny-driven men. I'm talking about digitally dormant men. I've seen many people with fantastic CVs. They've sent their CVs to me to review. They've sent their PhD proposals and many other things like that. And I've seen these same people walking the world unemployed. They've been either unemployed or underemployed. And what I've seen always is because they have never learned how to be seen. The power of learning how to be seen, the power of visibility, the power of networking, we cannot overemphasize that. So we are not losing today. Gentlemen, we're not losing today because we are lazy. But what I've discovered is that we are losing because we are very invisible. And that's why I've always said to my students, most of them, look, it's important to brag. It's important to brag, but I'm going somewhere. But you cannot give what you don't have, because you can only brag with what you have, right? So but again, what you have is also very relative, particularly in this time and age that we find ourselves. Does all the skills that you possess, the cutting edge, desirable skills, essential skills that you have, do they align with what investors want? Do they align with what regulators want? Do they align with what governments want? You see, so I learned all the secrets from networking, people that and it's through networking that I've got to meet mentors who, when I sit down with them, I spend about 30 minutes, 45 minutes with them, and I become 10 years wiser. I'm ahead of the game, right? In terms of many opportunities. And that's why when I apply, of course, apart from the power of the Holy Spirit, and with the benevolence of the power of mentoring, which has stemmed from networking, I get to apply and succeed at just one opportunity, just a first opportunity of applying. I get it. The problem no one preaches about today is that maybe let me say this: in 2021 alone, I know that over 25 million Africans with university degrees were unemployed, and that's a fact. Yeah, and despite a global talent shortage in in tech, in business, in engineering, in academia, about 25 million Africans with university degrees were unemployed. And meanwhile, you still find many organizations around the world, multinationals around, they've spent about I think that was about 92 billion dollars. You can go and check that out. 92 billion dollars on LinkedIn recruitment alone. LinkedIn recruitment tools, I beg your pardon, alone. So what does that say to us? I mean, that has a lot of implications. So if you look at the number of people that are unemployed or underemployed, yet with fantastic skills, and they are yet to get visible and things like that. The gap here is that we can see that this is not really about qualification, right? So it's really now about professional visibility. And so I would like to very quickly share with you my own story, what happened to me back then, of course, I had a PhD in real estate investment and finance from South Africa and Germany. I had, Q1 publications. I had, at that time when I completed my PhD, I was having about 13 years of experience teaching across about 4 countries and carrying out research in many countries. I had about $1 million in grants, research grants. And I remember attending a certain conference, right? Before the 1 million grants came in, I remember that I had to borrow money from, I was just very, very intentional young guy back then. In 2015, I remember my girlfriend back then, a medical student. Well, medical doctor. She was on her housemanship, and I ran to her that, look, there's this conference I need to attend in Kumasi, Ghana, and that was because I understood that I needed to be visible, right? So what I simply did was to attend the conference. Of course, I borrowed money from my girlfriend back then. Well, that girlfriend also took back her money after a while. But the most important thing was that I showed up, right? Regardless of the fact that I even presented a nonsensical paper, a paper that, if I handle that paper today, I would just tear into shreds. I still showed up. And trust me, that was the start of my transformation, right? I was this same guy proud this time that very ambitious, very, inquisitive and all of that, very curious. I was this guy that was, I think it was my set during my master's in around 2013, that we were they brought in Turnitin at the Obafemi Awolowo University. Well, I didn't know anything about academic integrity at that time, and I was shut down. My presentation was shut down. My proposal was shut down. But that conference in 2015, Kumasi, Ghana, was what changed the narrative, was what changed the story. And I look at myself today. I sincerely do not consider myself a genius, but the same me who presented a nonsensical paper that time, because of networking, I met my PhD advisor, Professor Kola Akinsomi, today, fantastic guy, who also attended the conference. And from there, I secured a PhD place spot at the University of the Witwatersrand. That was the #1 university in Africa at that time. And that individual was also the best in terms of real estate investment and finance, right? What am I trying to say? In 5 years, 6 months under him, everything changed. I had met, bigger names. I met someone they call the Pope of real estate in the world, Professor Karl Werner Schutte, a German professor. Let me shock you. The power of networking made me secure a 15-minute conversation with this top professor of real estate in the world that everyone wants to talk to, everyone wants to see, everyone wants to sit down. I had a window opportunity of about 15 minutes, and that landed me a spot in Germany at the International Real Estate Business School, the second best real estate business school in the world. And you see, this is how it happens. When a door opens, bigger doors, other doors open. And so we cannot overemphasize, the importance of networking, because excellence itself is silence. Excellence in silence is just elegant, what I call elegant obscurity. Excellence in silence is just elegant obscurity. So at that time of my life, I was not unemployed. What happened to me was that I was not findable. I was not visible. I was not known, but I needed to be known. And, to cut long story short today, today I sit as a young nigger at, one of the universities in London as head of departments. I started the real estate department from ground zero with 3 students. Today we are about 124 students. And again, with the power of mentoring, I secured a research grant, hundreds of thousands of pounds, right? I was able to publish 7 articles in 1 year. In just about 9 months of joining the university, the power of mentor networking also. Because again, what happened was that I now had to meet, I met someone who mentored my father. How many years ago? 48 years ago. His name is Emeritus Professor Andrew Baum. And what happened? I just met him at a workshop. I introduced myself. I showed up, and I explained. I was super enthusiastic about and excited about what I do, what I'd been doing. I saw that our research. We had this research goal alignment. I just walked up to him, introduced myself, and I had to bring in the fact that he mentored my father 48 years ago at the University of Reading in the United Kingdom, and we became friends. And trust me, 45 minutes with Professor Andrew Baum secured me a research grant that I spoke about with the Investment Property Forum in the United Kingdom. And I can tell you that in today's economy, if your work speaks for you and no one hears it, then the big question is, what's the point? So let us not forget, I have quite a lot to say. Let's not forget that we are not just here to work. We are here to signal. We are here to show up. We are here to, steward visibility. Of course, I will underline it, with integrity. And that was what I did. Why is this conversation very important? And that's what I'm going to round up with. LinkedIn has about 1 billion users. I mean, for 7 good years, I had just about 4,000 followers. And because I was able to sit down and understand the algorithms, the entire architecture of LinkedIn, in 4 months, I had 100,000 followers. In 4 months, I had 100,000 followers. And also in 4 months, I generated, no exaggerations, I generated nothing less than $5,000. $5,000. I generated, sorry for that. In 4 months, I generated $5,000 because I showed up on LinkedIn, because I engaged with my audience. I understood who was following me. I understood the niche. I understood what they needed. I knew investors were following me, regulators was following me, government was following me, whether as representatives or the body itself, because I've worked with quite a lot of people. I mean, I'm talking about people from Oman, Afghanistan. Think about the most remote country in the world. These are people that follow me on LinkedIn. And today I have 207,000 followers on LinkedIn. What transported me from 4,000 followers to 207,000 followers in just about a year plus, or 2 years, let me just say 2 years, right? I understood the importance of LinkedIn. Another statistics I must leave with you is that 77% of recruiters now rely on LinkedIn. They now rely on LinkedIn. They watch your posts, they read your posts, they see the chronology of thoughts, they see the strengths of the creativity of your posts. How do you alternate your posts? And so these were the things I understood. I understand what days to post. I understand what times to post on LinkedIn. I know that when I post, I mean, I'm going to give you a secret. I know that when I post on Tuesday morning, 11 a.m., I'm not going to get anything less than 100,000 impressions. 100,000 impressions and nothing less than 1,000 engagements and several comments. You see, so I've seen quite a lot of people speak about, I'm not talking about this session, but I've been to several sessions where people speak about LinkedIn optimization, and I just smile because people are yet to people only scratch the surface in terms of LinkedIn optimization. Specificity is the rule of the game, is the currency of the game. 6 people get hired every minute on LinkedIn. I was hired from LinkedIn for the job I occupy. I work in 2 universities. The second is at Sheffield Hallam University. I was recruited through LinkedIn from Sheffield Hallam because the recruiters reached out to me and they said they loved my profile. They said this and that. Wow, amazing. Another recruiter reached out to me. They said I should come and become the dean of London South Bank University. And I looked at myself, me? I hope they know that I'm a very dull person, but the power of showing up, the power of visibility, it's very, very integral to our journey. So too many men, in this world, highly educated, skilled, visionary, but they are ghosts on the platform where their future employers live. They are ghosts on the platform where their future employers live. And so we must just see this as a destiny delay. Many of the things that I've achieved in terms of also business opportunities today are a result of not my skills, but relationships, networking, just getting to speak to people. But we must have an underlying factor, which is what I'm going to round up with: value. You must have value. You must command value. You must have that tangible value. You must have what people are looking for. You must be able to provide solution to what people are looking for. People's challenges are not abstract. People don't have abstract challenges. They want individuals who can critically think and help them answer the what question, the why question, and the how question. If you can do that chronologically on LinkedIn, if you can understand the way its algorithm works, the days to post, the second to post, if you can understand who your followers are, and it's very important that we, I promise you, this is the last thing I'm going to say. It's very important that as men, we always win in the place of adversity. We always win in the place of challenges. How do you inspire people coming behind you if you have not won in the place of adversity? And so these are, if you check my stories, if you check my post on LinkedIn, they are always stemming from stories. I was a taxi driver, but while I was driving taxis, buses in the day, Ubers at night in South Africa, sometimes the petrol will finish and passengers will get off the bus angry. I would just park on one corner and start to shed tears. They say men don't cry. Me, I cried, though. I cried. I would start shedding tears while typing my feedback, my response to my supervisor, because I knew that I must win. I knew that people coming behind me will face the same challenges, and if I had not won, and trust me, in 3 weeks, I got 3 jobs in the United Kingdom. People want to be able to relate to tangibility of successes, not theoretical successes that they can find on Google, or on what's this streaming platform called, Netflix. They want to see what problems you go through. Why was that problem so much of a problem to you, and how were you able to solve the problem? If you can answer those 3, if you have won in those 3, then welcome to the world of winning. Thank you so much for listening to me. I have so much to say, but I'm a talkative, but
I know, right? Thank you so much, Dr. Shil. I know if I leave you to it for the rest of the day, we are going to hear you speak. Thank you so much for being vulnerable and for sharing your story with us. Thank you so much. In fact, my note is full. Tangibility of success. Wow, I love that. Thank you. And so we have a final speaker in the stream. I'm going to bring him up on stage now. So I'm going to play his profile, and he'll be talking to us on how to balance the mantle, being a father, being a husband, and being a leader at the same time. So I'll play his profile. Then the next voice we hear afterwards will be Coach Chindah.
Winning transformational speaker. He's a certified life, relationship, and performance coach. He's also a best-selling author of 9 impactful books on marriage, personal growth, and Christian living. He's a John Maxwell certified coach and an NLP practitioner. He's also an entrepreneur, a senior IT consultant, and passionate mentor to youths and young adults. He's the founder of several organizations, including Limitless Life Pro Academy, Married Life Management, Care Evangelistic Ministry, and multiple business ventures in the UK. Coach Chindah empowers young individuals from single to married couples to build strong, fulfilling relationships and embrace personal transformation. He lives in England with his wife of 16 years, Chimzi, and their two sons, Chris and Cedric, balancing his business, ministry, and coaching roles with purpose and passion. Please let's make welcome Coach Chindah. Thank you.
Hello, 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 hello. Good afternoon. I'm excited to be here. I want to appreciate this opportunity and I want to say massive thank you to beloved sister and thank you for what you're doing to empower men, to support family life, and to ensure that the foundation that creates lasting legacy and impact to the generation that perhaps we may or may not see continue to have value. And thank God for those behind the scene as well. And I also want to appreciate, Oluseun, thank you, Doctor, for that incredible, insightful discussion. I'm so grateful because learned a lot as well on LinkedIn and the power of that platform. And it's interesting you talked about South Africa. I was in University of Pretoria as well. So I also cried there as well. So when you say you cried, I also cried in South Africa as well. So South Africa makes you cry. Okay. So, but the story is totally different. We all have different stories. So I appreciate that wonderful thing you've shared. I want to talk about balancing the mantle. I just hope we have a lot of men in this class and not just women. I'm looking at the chat because I'm quite observant and I see quite a lot of wonderful wives and wonderful women talking and in the chat. I'm hoping that the men are out there and they're listening, okay, and they're also open and willing to learn and to change and to evolve. Wives, if your husbands are somewhere, you can send them this video or the link on YouTube. And if you have those that you want them to really receive something from here, because look at all what have been shared already. It's incredible. It's a lot of value being shared here. So please, if the husband is not here, just send that link, tell him to join. And maybe after this, you can also bring others to replay this. This might just help a lot of them as well. Hello, Joy. Thank you so much. Right. Balancing the mantle. There are three key things I want to talk about. And it's a reality that I will give you some interesting statistics about what I'm talking about today from the UK perspective. Different parts of the world have their own perspective, but I want to focus on the UK to the fact that we're here and a lot is going on in this place. And it's good that we understand what we need to do. Now, some of you that are listening, you might be has been impacted from the negative part of what I'm going to talk about. And I'm not here to trigger anybody, and I'm not here to make you become like this. I'm just here to speak the truth and only the truth. I'm here to speak the facts, and also I'm here to speak reality so that we can think about how we do things from a father perspective, from a husband perspective, from a leader perspective. So these are the three mantles that I believe that God has given to us as fathers, and it's important that we understand the impact of those mantles. They are not just roles, they are divine assignments. As a father, it's a calling, it's a God ordained responsibility to function in a certain way with the capacity to do something that perhaps the one that was behind you never did. These mantles are very weighty. They are spiritual weights, they are emotional weights, they are parenting weights, they are husband weights, they are responsibility weights. It's a burden. Now, not in a bad way, but it comes with a strong ethos that leadership and stewardship should drive these mantles. And I love what God have done. It didn't just give us this calling or this weight just for us to carry it without any support. There are authority, there are grace, and there are things we can assess to become incredible role models as fathers, as husbands, and at the same time, as true, authentic leaders. Fathers, we are to guide, we are to protect, we are to bless, we are to raise the next generation. Husbands are to love their wives, care for their wives, support the female gender in their life, which is a significant order, just like Christ loved the church. Unfortunately, a lot of fathers and a lot of husbands are not doing very well in this area. As a marriage coach, I know what I'm saying from a statistical point of view. I've been doing this now for about 13 years, so I know. And I'm going to talk about how this has affected, especially the Black community in the UK. What about the mantle of leadership? We have strong gap around leadership as a father, as a husband, because you cannot model what you are not living. If you don't have leadership behind your husbandry, behind your fatherhood, then you will meander and become directionless. And at the end of the day, you do a strong spiritual shipwreck of the original function that God has ordained you to carry. Fatherhood, husbandhood, or husbandry, they are serious responsibilities that comes with a lot of weight. And as a father, it's important that you understand some unique dynamics as a father. A child will remember the man who showed up and not the man who only provided. You don't have to be a perfect father. You just have to be present one. And you will see the statistics from the Office for National Statistics in the UK why this is a strong problem. Absentee fathers, withdrawn fathers. Every day a father is absent, something in your child's identity goes unanswered. Fatherhood is not a title, it's a ministry, it's an embodiment of responsibilities from a presence perspective, protection perspective, and above all, very, very prophetic guidance to the children. Your voice as a father becomes an echo in your child's soul. I came from a polygamous family. My dad had 3 wives. And he was quite a busy man because he was a farmer. And my father had 36 children. Now, can you imagine where I am in the line? I love my dad, but there are so many mistakes my dad made that I chose intentionally not to repeat. So, by being raised significantly by a dad was in the house but absent in my life, that alone is a trauma in itself. Because I copy and you become what you see. A lot of the fathers today in their homes are just replica of what they took and received while growing up. Some never had present fathers, some have absent fathers, some fathers were present but never engaged, never connected, and never present in the lives of the children. Now, the father that you have become is a father that is void of connection, of intimacy, of a life that can bring life, that can change others. And always challenge every father. Look at yourself in the mirror. The way you talk, the way you speak, the way you act, the way you react, everything about you spring from the programs that you had growing up. A lot of fathers that I've seen in the UK are just replicators of the fathers from Africa. Unfortunately, some of us are immigrants. Immigration does not change the programs in a man. You can migrate from one place to the other, move from one place to the other. If you're not intentional to face what is inside of you and intentionally work on yourself, you will start living the life that you shouldn't live. A father is very critical in a home. Children will model their identity from the reflection of their father. Most times, fathers are just want to provide, but they are not available. They're not present. The greatest need of a father, the greatest need of a child is time from the father. You can buy them toys, you can buy them these, you can do whatever. If time is not part of your investment in your child, in your family, then you are treading a very dangerous ground. Let me show and let me tell what is happening within the United Kingdom. This is from the Office of National Statistics. In the UK, 15% of families are lone parent homes, which is about 2.9 million. Of those, 84% are headed by mothers, 16% by fathers. So 457,000 homes are without a father. Now, let's look at household composition by ethnicity. White household, 10.2% are lone parent, mostly mothers. 32.9% are married couples. Listen to this. This is, oh my God, help the black families. 30.9% are one person. Now, look at the black households. Lone parent homes are 24.3%, highest among all groups, white, Asian, and the likes in the United Kingdom. Married couples and staying married among the black households are 21.6%. The white households was 32.9%. Now check this. The Asian households in the UK, lone parents are 5.7%, the lowest among all groups in the UK. Married couples and staying married in the UK among the Asian families is 47%. One person is 17.0%. It means that black families have nearly 1 in 4 single parent homes, mostly mothers without father present in the household. 1 in 4. Now guess this. For the white families, it's 1 in 10. For the Asian families, it's 1 in 20. Think about that for a minute. Every 4 homes in the UK, one of those homes, there is no father there in a black home. Every 10 homes in the UK, one of those homes, there is no father in the white family. Every 20 homes in the UK, 1 out of the 20 in an Asian family has no father. Can you now see that the black family has the highest absence, father absence in their homes, compared to the white, compared to the black, to the Asian and Chinese? And the black kids, 6 out of every 10 children belonging to the black lives without their father. This is very serious, and this is frightening. Why are the fathers not in their houses? What is chasing the fathers away from the home? The black community see the highest father absence, and it's rising every year. It's rising every year. What is the matter? Because father presence in the home is tied to better education, better mannerism, behavior in children, emotional stability, financial security, leadership, a lot, lower risk of teen pregnancies, substance abuse. This just go on and on and on and on and on. Where are the fathers in the black homes? Where are the fathers in the black homes? What is chasing the fathers away? What is making them not to stay? Now, there's so many factors to this. Some of them are trauma. Some of them are well learned. This is where it surprises me. You will see a father, he's got PhD, he's a professor, he's emeritus, he's got this, he's a CEO, he's this, he's that, he's this, he's that. But in his home, he's completely not known. He's got the award outside, he's got the praises outside, he's got all this stuff, and wow, he's great and mighty. But at home, he's not available. The father spent a lot of his time, a lot of his energy, just to make sure that everybody outside see him as great and mighty. But at home, he's not a father. He doesn't have time for the family. He doesn't have time for the home. So look, it's not all about providing. It's not about I'm paying the mortgage. I'm paying them private school. I take them to Dubai. I do this. That's very transactional. There is no functionality there. There is no relationship. And sometimes these fathers, with all the outside accolades, great men out there, but in their home, they are traumatized. The children run away when they're around. They don't know how to talk to their wife, talk to the kids. They don't know how to build a home. And a lot of them, unfortunately, have the side chicks outside, the side hippopotamus, the side kangaroos, and the side whatever out there. But the home, they are not available. Now, I'm not saying this is very common to all men, like you see. But I'm saying that we have a problem in the black community. And this is happening more and more and more and more. Why? What is chasing the men out? And then the other side of the home is the woman. I know this is men conference, but the reality is that unfortunately, I gotta say this stuff because I know what is going on. Some of them is legitimate, some of them isn't. Some women because I mean, see, marriage is not entirely protected very strongly now. It's under attack. So single parents are paid more. That's the truth. You're paid more on benefits. You're paid more on, you have access to a lot of things. In fact, some women that don't have papers, if they chase their husband out and they cook a couple of lies, sometimes true, sometimes not true, because they are told by some other home wreckers and home destroyers, and then they bring the authority in, and then they fight for whatever they fight, they get their permanent resident, they get their visa, and they're now jumping and say, yeah, I did it. You did it? No, you didn't do it. Because your judgment is coming. I'm not talking about abuse here. I'm not talking about toxic place. That's not what I'm talking about. But I'm talking about when things are not just on that level, but because you are looking for an advantage. This thing can chase a man away. So whatever the man does now, I gotta say this stuff. Look, I dealt with someone that they have a WhatsApp group. I never knew this kind of thing existed. A divorce, marriage separation WhatsApp group run by Nigerian women in the UK, in the US, in Germany. Big groups. Because one of my clients actually screenshot. I saw that. I was shocked. The wife want to get a home. And then they were doing a Zoom call, and the person that was in Texas telling the Nigerian women abroad, it's time to take what is yours. The house can be yours. And the man was just stepping and listening. The wife was there listening. And the next thing, she started plotting on how to kick the man out of the house so that she can fight the papers and all that and get everything. He recorded everything. Doesn't beat the wife. I even asked the woman, has this man touched you before? No. Has he done anything against you? No. What are you doing then? You came from Nigeria and now you just want to chase him away. This man has suffered so long and brought you here, and you want to kick him out. Why? Because you want to get a house? But at the end of the thing, the whole thing was exposed. And thank God, God saved that woman from going through the parts. So sometimes the woman kicked the man out. Not for any particular reason that is for her safety, but for malicious gain. For paper, for house, for riches and wealth. Now, where there is violence, yes, you could do that. That's because I don't promote violence anyway. But where you maliciously kick the husband out and the children have no father, the children have nobody to be there, and you are trying to do it alone, is dangerous. And some men, because of their attitude and behavior at home, they are not reading, they are not changing, they are not developing. Now, if you think about this conference, I don't know how many men are watching right now. I might be wrong, but the statistics of the people watching this might just be more women. But it's Father's Conference. It's not Women Day Conference. It's Father's Day Conference. But when you have more women in a Father's Day Conference, we have a problem. We have an issue. Because the brothers are not learning. The men are not changing. Maybe now many of them are watching football. They're on their phone. They are out there, or somehow with their chai chick, or they're going to look for money, or they see this as irrelevant. And yet they have problems. They have issues. And because of the ego and pride, lack of humility, and they're not fully able to give themselves for mentorship, for teaching, for coaching, for transformation, they are still carrying all their trauma. And when their wives speak, they shout, they scream, they lash out. Fathers, you have to make up your mind that we cannot continue having this. The black families in the UK need to come back. all the fundamental issues. And look, I gotta say this stuff. The culture has not even helped us. Sometimes the church has not even fully helped us. Yes, we are the head of the family. Yes, we are this, we are that. But sometimes it gets into our head and we begin to treat everybody in the house like slaves. Submit. What about you? Are you submitting? We twist the Bible, we twist the scriptures, we do it just the way so that we can still remain in that empowered mode. And sometimes our culture has not really helped. The culture silence the other gender. The culture does not allow the other gender to express themselves fully. And we are just the man. And unfortunately, sometimes when you bring the case to be judged, it's not going to be fair. Most times, the only gender that is being blamed is the other gender. And we, the man, will just go scotch-free. Oh, don't worry, he will change. Oh, don't worry, accept the cheating. Oh, don't worry, he can misbehave. Oh, don't worry, he's a madman. He will come back. That is how he did with your father. That is how he did with your uncle. That's how no. It's not acceptable. It's wrong. The man gotta heal. The man gotta change. The man gotta go back to God and change. And when church is protecting the man, then it becomes a problem. When the woman said, look, I need help. This is what is happening at home. And the church, seeing the man as the head, instead of calling him out, tell him you gotta change, you gotta repent, you gotta turn your way around, and we just sugarcoat it and all that and tell the woman, don't worry, keep praying, everything will be all right. This is not about prayers. This is about change. He got to change the character, the behavior. He gotta repent, he gotta turn away, he gotta, apologize and become a real man like Christ, not like the Pharisees and the Sanhedrins, not like the wicked souls. We gotta look at this mantle of fatherhood, and now the mantle of husband. Let me dwell there a little bit. Husband is a father because there's another gender in his life. As a marriage coach, I know there's an issue here. All this impacts to our lives, impact the way we do things. Many husbands has forgotten their original role. You are not her head to control her or subdue her or beat her or suffer her, but to cover her in love as Christ does the church. I always tell men and husbands, the Bible said in Romans chapter 5 verse 8, he said, sorry, I gotta quote these scriptures. He said, while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us. It implies that you don't have to be perfect to be loved. You don't have to perform to be valued and treated like Christ treated the church. When the Bible says a man should love their wife as Christ loved the church, unfortunately, many men do not understand that we have to change and we have to turn this around. So as a husband, it is your desire, it is your function to ensure that you do everything you can, not just to dominate, not just to create pain, but rather to love your wife as Christ loved the church. And you do that with true leadership from your heart. You're carrying the weight, but you do everything from your heart to ensure that everything you do, you are a living example. You are a model in your home that others will follow. Because when you do that, everything begins to synergize. You are a father in charge of the home. You're a husband. There is another gender to support you, a helpmate. And while you are providing that, you bring in leadership like Christ. Leadership like Christ. Anything outside Christ leadership is flawed. And I just hope as we just discuss a little bit more, I pray that men that are here, And also women that are here, or those that are going to watch this in replay, should just look themselves in the mirror and ask themselves this question. Am I an ideal father from a father perspective? Am I the real husband that God has called me for? Am I leading in the front with true leadership example for others to follow? And I pray that as you do so, God will help you to be the real father and husband and leader to your home, to your wife, and to your children. Thank you for listening. We'll take some questions now.
Amen. Thank you so much, Coach Chindah. I know if I leave him, he will continue because the anointing has descended and it was just flowing. Thank you so much for your time, Coach Chindah. Thank you, Father. That was so impactful. And I just wish the men were online listening to this. But I hope that the women will share it with them and they will take their time to listen to this conversation over and over again. I want to say a special thank you to all our speakers once again. Thank you, Dr. Bolaji, Dr. Sheun, Dr. Ike, Coach Chindah, and our keynote speaker, Dr. Tunde-Success. Thank you so much. It's such an honor to have you speak to us today. We'll go straight away into the panel session. Please, if you have any question, please go ahead and put in the comment section. I have one start already. I think we should start with that while we wait for other people to post in their comments. This is to Dr. Ike. Dr. Ike, are you there? I want to bring you up on stage.
Hello, everyone.
Okay, so what are the relevant checkups for men done in the UK? I know for women to get free cervical cancer screening every 3 years.
Okay. That's a very good question. So thank you everyone for the program so far. So to that specific question, so there's some specific screening programs that are available on the NHS for men in the UK. So basically, for men, when they turn 65, they can do a test to check the size of their aorta. The aorta is the pipe, the tube that takes blood away from the heart, basically. So that tube takes most of the blood, if not all the blood actually, from the heart, and distributes it to every part of the body. So as you get older, because of hypertension, aging, as the vessels, as these tubes, as they get older, as we advance in our age, some of these tubes and pipes, they get weaker, so they could develop some faults along the way. And one of these faults is that these pipes could become bigger and balloon out. And sometimes it can rupture. So when it ruptures like this, that's where you have cases of people who were somewhere and they just slumped and died, basically. Or they complain of back pain, they've just been having this back pain for some time. And the next thing, somewhere at work, at home, or they woke up, they went to sleep, they didn't wake up, So from 65 years of age, there's a screening that is done. It's available on the NHS. There's also a test to check for bowel cancer. This is for people, they offer to men and women actually, from 60 years and above, every 2 years, basically. There's a kit that is sent home to check for bowel cancer, basically. If someone is above 75 years, he can request for the kit, basically. Then there's also something called the NHS Health Check, basically, where the screen is available from people from 40 to 74 years, basically, where you are screened for heart disease, stroke, type 2 diabetes, kidney disease, dementia. It's a full screening service, basically. So in this service, they check your blood pressure, they check your cholesterol, which is the amount of oil in your blood, check your weight. Discussions are had about your lifestyle in terms of sleep habits, alcohol, diet, things you should and should not do that will adversely affect your health, basically. So that's just basically top of my head that I can think of now. If you want more information, just go to the NHS website. and jog around a bit, and you get all the information that you need concerning that question. I hope I've been able to shed some light on it. Thank you.
Yes, you did. Thank you so much, Dr. Ike. I have another question. This is for you, Dr. Sheo. I'm going to bring you on the screen now. So for men who are introverted or socially awkward, how do you think they should approach networking?
All right. Thank you so much. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
All right, fantastic. My answer is not theoretical, also practical. I was previously a very introverted person. I wasn't someone um, who understood the whims and caprices of being socially included or being socially expressive, right? But I got to a stage of my life where I had to realize that, look, if I'm to become my dreams, if I'm to have a translation of my dreams into reality, then I needed to step out. So, in the game of visibility, in the game of success, there are no introverts, right? Right. Go and find out, and that's why sometimes even those who graduated with a third class or a pass, well, we know. I mean, so much due respect to those who did, who had third grades. You find that they're highly successful, and if you check it, you find that it wasn't really about the grades. It was more about their ability to step out, to show up. This has always been my call to action for my students, for my mentees. There is um, there is no signature, no portrait of being introverted here. You need to learn the ropes. I learned the ropes. I needed to step out. It starts with a journey. I mean, with a step, and that was what I did. Like I mentioned from my speech in 2015, I had to step out. I presented. My presentation was professionally, socially, emotionally, spiritually awkward. And I just, regardless of how stupid or how foolish it was, the moderator was asking the audience if there was a question for me, and there was no question. That's a signal that my presentation was was nothing to write home about. But next year I showed up again, and guess what? 2022. So 6 7 years down the line, 6 years down the line, the same conference, which is always annual in nature, in every African city. We go from West Africa to Southern Africa to East Africa. I won 2 Best People Awards. The same conference that felt socially awkward, the same conference I would have kept quiet. I won Best People Awards. In fact, those Best People Awards were what got me one job in Oxford as a senior lecturer back in 2022. I was appointed as senior lecturer in Oxford back in 2022. So there are no, when people tell me I'm an introvert, and I just smile, there's nothing like that in my dictionary, right? You need to compete. You need to show up. How do we know those who are the best on the pitch? They showed on the pitch, right? They showed on at the training pitches, and then at the arena itself. How do we know the world heavyweight champions? They showed up. You can be a boxer, the strongest in your village, and no one knows you. Well, if you don't want to be visible, if you don't want to if you don't want to be someone who enjoys greatness, then just stay in your village. So my call to action is very simple, and that's what I did. Just take the first step. Take the first steps, and then have a mentor. This was what really transformed my journey. And so 10 years for me became like 3 months achievement. What I should be achieving in 10 years, I started to achieve in months, right? Research grants. I know many professors who've applied for research grants, but because I networked, I have the right people in my circles, right? And I followed them. The mentor I talked about, Professor Andrew Baum, Emeritus Professor Andrew Baum, he mentored my father, and my father has become an emeritus professor. Cyril Ajayi. Maybe that's one thing I also want to become, but but realistically, in terms of effective achievement, effective translation of dreams into reality, I mean, I've really experienced that just because I stepped out, just because I took a train down to sit down in Professor Andrew Baum's class just to listen to him speak. And after the class, teaching his students as a lecturer myself, and then after such class, I take him out, buy him coffee, and just listen to him for 40 minutes, 45 minutes. And then I become 10 years wiser. And I began to realize the fact that I needed to step out. But listen to me carefully. It's also important that when you step out, when you are on the ladder towards visibility, when you are trying to network, be someone that is inherent, that is wired with value. I mean value. Because even when you approach networking, even if you reach out to people, I promise you, at the end of that 10, 15 minutes, 20 minutes conversation, that will be the end. These guys must be people that see what they can enjoy, what they can mutual beneficial relationships. That's what networking is actually, the real definition of networking. So it's not about really finding a mentor. When I went to find a mentor, I had to share cutting edge ideas. I had to share cutting edge ideas that were very attractive to him also. Of course, he was also into real estate investment and finance, but I was bringing a beautiful niche, right? And today, the research grant, Emeritus Professor Andrew Baum is an authority. I mean, we only read his books in Africa, right? But this is someone I sit down with. And guess what? He's an authority in real estate investment and finance. But for the research grants, I brought in machine learning, I brought in artificial intelligence, and he saw something beautiful and he was excited. And I told him, look, I want us to partner. I want you to mentor me and guide me on this journey. And today we won the grant. Today we have 120 something pages project on climate risk that focused on the Thames River, the Thames estuary, that was instituted by Queen Elizabeth. I mean, that's amazing. That's what networking can do. Step out, but while you're stepping out, also have value. While you're networking, also be someone that has generated stories. You are someone that has curated cutting-edge stories that people want to latch on, and that's how you can get successful at networking.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shield. Thank you for answering that question. So I have another one here for Dr. Bolaji. I'm going to bring you up now. So how do you balance ambition with contentment in your professional journey, especially in the UK? At least I still have something. It's better than nothing.
That's very good. Thank you very much. That is a good question. Now I'll say something that they often feel opposite, but they are not necessarily opposite. So, and if you look at ambition, you want to move forward, you want to get better, you want to overcome challenges, you're seeing the art of the possible, you're overcoming what people say are impossible, you're taking it as a challenge to be better, to do something, to climb, to grow. So ambition, that feels good. Contentment also is that satisfaction. And I'll probably say the thanksgiving or the gratitude of this is where I am. Now, the balance is going to be, while I know where I am, while I want to get to the next step, who am I becoming in the process? do I like the person I've become, or have I allowed the ambition to consume me? So one of the speakers, I think that was Sheung, he did mention that you need to have values. Am I losing my values because of ambition? Or am I being complacent because I'm content? And that's where you must ask yourself that question. Is a question each of us must answer to say, am I becoming who my dreams or who God wants me to become, if you believe in God? And or am I just satisfied with where I am? If you're satisfied with where you are, the danger is you're not driving for something better. And if you're not driving for something better, you're not increasing your capacity to take on more responsibility. And that's where leadership comes in. For you to be able to guide and lead your family, other people, people in your field of influence, you need to grow. So the question is, I want to go forward. At what cost? What am I becoming in the process?
Thank you, Dr. Bolaji. Dr. Sheo, can you add in 1 minute, please? 1 minute. Can I trust you with that?
You can trust me very quickly. Thank you so much for Dr. Bolaji. That was impressive. Just to add, the ambition is very, very valid for everyone. In fact, if I meet someone who is not ambitious, I run away from such people. um it's healthy to be ambitious, and ambition is like the ultimate, like, where do you see yourself ultimately, right? And so there are different steps you have to take. For me, I want to become, by the grace of God, the youngest uh, African Black vice chancellor of a top university in the United Kingdom. We're in Timberland, fine boy, and still doing awesome stuff. But the contentment here is where many people have missed it. We have oftentimes integrated the measurability of another person's journey and reflected it in our journey. We have used it as some sort of pressure. We have allowed the journeys of others to define our journeys. So while in the journey to becoming, a higher education leader, I saw some of my colleagues who were already becoming senior lecturers. I was still on my PhD, but I realized that, look, I need to, yeah, the ambition has not died and it will not die, but my pace is different from their pace. And ultimately, today we're all higher education leaders, we're all senior lecturers in the game. So it's important that you are contented with where you are, enjoy the process, find resources that will harness your growth. Just enjoy so contentment is you enjoying the pace of your journey, but at the same time, not you're not relaxed, but it's just really about enjoying the pace of your journey and ensuring that whether it's one step today, two steps tomorrow, three steps to day after tomorrow, ultimately you reach your goal, your ambition. That's what matters. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sheo. Coach Chindah, I have an interesting question for you. What about the fact that there is a woman doing everything in the home and gaslighting you to help him with his own plans and never asking about yours? How can you navigate? The church is not.
Uh, that's an interesting question, and it's valid as well. And I think these things spring from a realistic, painful situation. And I also want to say that this is very common as well among a lot of marriages and relationships. I've seen this across white, black, Indian, Chinese, across different spectrum that I work with across the world. But the reality is this: gaslighting is not equal to conflict. It's an emotional control. Gaslighting is not just disagreement. This is where your feeling is being dismissed. Sometimes you're caught overreacting. the conversation is turned into argument, and most times it's reframed that you are the problem. They minimize your voice or try to silence it, that your own is not necessary, or they try to subdue you from amplifying your needs. For you to come like that, that is something that you lack. There's some underlying stuff you want to address. And whether he listens or she listens or whatever is the case, I just want you to know first that your feelings are valid, your points are valid. And it's so sad that we're in a position where we try to shame people, shut people down, or we'll try to turn things around just to create this space of being very dominant or controlling and make the other person like they are the problem. And like you said, unfortunately, the church has not entirely helped. I'm not saying all churches. I'm a fan of church and I love church, but unfortunately, I've seen where the church has not helped in situations like this. Sometimes the church is very one-sided, and most times they preach a lot of summit, but they don't balance respect. Okay, and they tell the men to lead, but they don't create the space for the men to actually say, I'm exhausted, I'm tired, I don't know what to do, I'm confused, I'm struggling. And a lot of men don't come from that place of vulnerability to seek for help. They are also they are viewed as very strong, very powerful. And most times in church, church is designed to see men as very powerful, very strong leaders. They are not weak, they are not tired, they are not this, they are not that. And also, whatever happens, they're in charge, they're in control. So sometimes the other gender feel alienated, betrayed, and very, very sad. So how do you deal with something like this? How do you navigate this? Number one, I think it's important you don't explode, right? Don't accuse, don't explode. You need to have a clear way of communicating how you are feeling and exactly what is going on. Don't attack the personality. Don't use some phrases that will just trigger the person. And at the end of the day, the person completely shut you down and you're not able to get the support that you need, right? So your language is very important and the time of that language. For instance, if it's a woman trying to talk to a man, depending on the personality of that man, if you've lived with him for some time, you understand when he's at that place of rest, that place of momentary happiness or joy or whatever it is. You understand the dynamics in your home. Find that moment to bring that communication. Know when the person is tired, frustrating, he's trying to get some things done and he's all over the place, he's angry. Well, that conversation is not going to work. And then when you see these things happening, I like to say to my client, document the patterns, right? That emotional dismissal that keep happening, try to find out what is triggering it. Where is it coming from? How often does this thing happen? Literally study the other gender, because that will help you now to know, is this a pattern? Where is it springing from? What am I going to do about it? You become very analytic, not just very passive, observant, analytic about these dynamics that you have seen maybe newly or it's been there, but you've just been passive about it. You're not taking time. When you look at that and then you find how you communicate that to your husband or to that person, if they don't want to listen, I think you need to seek counseling. Now, most times, and I want to say this, my gender doesn't like a lot of counseling. Thank God for the reformed men, men that are they're not fixed in their mindset. They are growth driven. They are willing to learn. They are humble. They believe that somebody can teach them something. Unfortunately, we are not a lot. That's the reality, especially in the marital space. We are very secretive, very um, isolated. We don't want anyone to get involved in our stuff, right? We don't want anybody to know about anything. Even though we are trying to handle this thing by ourselves, we can see that we're not making any progress. But we can go to a doctor, we can go to our business partner, we can do a lot of other things. But you see, when it comes to this marriage and relationship thing, my gender is not very forthcoming in seeking for help. But they can seek for help in a lot of other things. Very few men can humble themselves to seek for help. And for you, it's important not to allow that to hinder you. Sometimes they might shut you down. And I've dealt with cases like this. But it's your right to seek for help. It's your right to find a way to deal with the situation that you are having. A therapist, a coach, a counselor, whatever it is, or you can bring it to your pastor if they are trained. Unfortunately, not all leaders in the church have the expertise and the knowledge and the training to be able to deal with cases like this. Thank God for God and the Holy Spirit. I don't undermine that at all. But there's a place for expertise. There's a place for professionalism. There's a place for certificate. There's a place for learning and mentorship and training. And if we know that where we are don't have that, then let's go for those that have access to it. Don't let what he's saying to you shrink you or make you like this. You have a voice. You are an emotional being, and it's your right to be well and to be good and to enjoy whatever you think you have. But if you are drowning in there, please seek a referee, and that's an external party that can support you. Not your mom, not your father, not your brother, not your sister, not your friends, because they are not trained to deal with things like this. Just like you will not go to your father to do a medical surgery in your brain. You won't go to your friend to just come and remove your tooth or deal with some very serious thing. Go to the professionals, to the trained ones, and they are out there. I hope this helps.
Thank you so much, Coach Chindah. Thank you. That was really, really, really insightful. Thank you for that answer. It's been a long day, and I'm sure it's been value for our time. Just to round up, I wish you could take more questions, but this is past it already, and I want people to sit in with their families. So I'm going to call on each speaker to give us a last minute charge, the last charge, right? So just 1 minute, please. Let me just do 1 minute. I'll start with Dr. Bolaji. Just give us like a closing remark, just for 1 minute. Thank you.
Yeah, so the closing remark for me is going to be somehow, it goes like this. If you're going to be fired from your job, let it not be that you didn't do a good job. And that's it.
Wow. Let it not be that you didn't do a good job. Awesome. Awesome. I'll go to Coach Chindah next.
I'll say that there are three things I just want to say. Number one, as a father, as a husband, as a leader, find yourself. Who are you? Find yourself. Know who you are, because that will drive a lot of things going forward. Number two, feed yourself. Love, drink, assess mentorship, assess training, assess groups, support groups, assess books, assess courses. Just keep transforming your mind from whatever it is before to where you are going, that will take you to become an exceptional father, a great husband, and also an impactful leader. And finally, fight yourself. Stop fighting your wife and the kids. Stop fighting the government, your parents, your friends. Stop fighting those around you. Fight the laziness, fight the trauma, fight the pain, fight whatever it is that's not allowing you to go to this place and to become the best version of yourself that God has created you. So, number one, find yourself, feed yourself, and fight yourself. God bless you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Coach Chindah. Dr. Ike, over to you, and we end with Dr. Shion tonight. Dr. Ike, are you ready to give
Oh,
us
hi. Yeah. Thank you. So, what my final note this evening to all guys, all men, take care of yourself. Take care of yourself physically, mentally, spiritually, and emotionally. You have to be healthy to be able to be that pillar that everyone expects you to be, basically. And what I'm saying is it's a byproduct of what everybody, of what all the speakers have said. Basically, it's chipping off. I'm trying to chip off what everybody has said so far. at some point during your day, during your week, in your life, you have to stop and ask yourself, am I okay? Am I okay physically? Am I okay mentally? Am I okay emotionally? That is the only way you'll be able to provide, give, and care for the people that you love around you. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ike. And finally, Dr. Sheung, over to you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
All right. So I just want to say I would like to leave every man here with a truth. This is a truth that, systems won't teach you. This is one that the churches would rarely say out loud. And it's very simple. Visibility is obedience. Trust me. When God places brilliance in a man, he expects distribution. He expects that we are not just decorated with brilliance or whatsoever. He expects that we're visible, and one of the attributes of being visible is distribution. Because when we hide under false humility, I don't want to be seen, I don't want to, trust me, it's not weak, it's not meekness. I've had this to say to many people, that it is merely disobedience in disguise. You are not sent to the face of earth to blend in. Our mandate has always been to become a landmark, for those who are to come after us, to be Googled. We need to become those names that will be Googled by our grandchildren, and people that will remain forever relevant. So please don't go quiet now. They said the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The next best time to plant new trees is now. The trees that we see today, they were planted. And when you plant, the fruit becomes visible, right? So don't delay your influence because you are afraid of being misunderstood. Like I said earlier, your obscurity, it doesn't glorify God. That's the honest truth. And what glorifies God is your impact. And you're only visible when you make impact. So our names must be mentioned, begin to be, we must begin to ensure that our names are mentioned in rooms that our feet has not even touched yet. We must ensure that our profiles become a prophecy, that our life is fulfilled. We must ensure that our visibility is one that is so purposeful that even the heavens, it calls it faithful stewardship. I'll round up with this. Silence. I remember I was reading it sometimes ago. Silence, it delays nations. Silence delays nations. And one visible man can unlock a generation. One visible man can unlock a generation. So I want to thank you once again for listening to me today. Hopefully, the insight of today will become beneficial for your journeys going forward. Thank you.
Oh, bless you, bless you. I love that last quote. Silence delays nation. One visible man can unlock generation. Oh, it's been an insightful session. It's been an amazing session. Even me, that I'm a woman, I can feel the weight of tonight's session, and I just wish more men can go over and catch a replay, because these are very, very insightful conversations. So thank you once again to our speaker. Special thanks to our keynote speaker, Dr. Tunde-Success Osideko. Thank you, Dr. Bolaji Ayoade. Thank you, Dr. Ike, Dr. Sheung, and Coach Chindah. Thank you so much for your time, for counting it worthy even to be a part of our session today. And just to remind us, for those that are just joining or joined later on after the introduction, this event is powered by PSP, called Parents Supporting Parents in the UK. We are a community of support for people for immigrants, especially Nigerians in the UK. So if you are in the UK or you know anyone in the UK that would like to be a part of this beautiful community, do well to scan the QR code or use the link. Note that we only admit UK lines for security purpose. And once again, thank you for being an amazing audience. Thank you for the outpour of questions. Thank you for the engaging conversations. Thank you so much to everyone. We'll be calling it a night. Thank you so much for your time, and have a beautiful night rest. Thank you.